is calling you. The universe is calling me. It speaks both day and night. It's full of dark and light.
Hey there, welcome to Sky Tour Radio. This is Mark D'Antonio, and tonight we have back with us the wonderful Amanda Curran. Hello, Amanda. How are you, and how are you feeling?
I'm a lot better than I was last week. I'm sorry for my absence, but thank you all for your well wishes. I feel better, thank you.
It's a good thing you're back because, you know, if you were gone a second week in a row, then I think people would have come out with torches and pitchforks and said, get that girl. But I'm glad you're with us.
Thank you.
And we also have Daryl Mason with us this week. Also, he was out sick. You know, everybody's absent from class, you know. How you doing,
Hello,
Daryl?
everybody. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. It's good to have you back, man. You know, I missed both of you last week, and I valiantly carried on without you. And the show did fine, but it was missing something very important, and that was Daryl's commentary and Amanda's comments as well. So.
Oh.
And I want to thank our producer for stepping in.
And that's true. He came on board for a while. Yep.
Mark, be honest. I listened into part of the show, and at one point you said you were having a great time by yourself.
Yeah.
I did not say those words.
Well, maybe not in that exact order, but, you know, put them all in a hat and turn it over and they'd all come out.
Yeah, I guess if you sift a bunch of words around, eventually you get the sentence you're seeking. You were missed, Earl, and I said so.
Oh, anybody missed me? Really? Wow.
I heard from
somebody likes me.
Where was Daryl? And I had to say, yeah, he was actually sick. And no, he nor Amanda had coronavirus. That's a whole nother thing. They were just sick. Yes, it happens, believe it or not. It's not always a virus like that. But hey, you know, I'm glad you guys are with me tonight. This is going to be great. We're having a good night tonight. As usual, Amanda has provided me with some interesting content for stories, and we're going to go through them. I know that she asked me before the show about some of them because she couldn't find the links to them. But don't worry, I've got it covered. And if you have any questions, Amanda, you can, of course, ask as usual.
Well, I came across them and I thought, it's kind of interesting to me. I wonder what astronomers would think. They must have an interesting take, and then, you know.
Exactly, and that's what we're gonna. As you'll see, folks, you'll see what goes through the mind of Amanda tonight. What makes her go? What is this all about? Okay, so this is kind of interesting. Now, in general, I want to welcome everybody here. The best listening audience on the planet. KGRA listeners are fantastic, and I did want to mention that. Sky Tour live stream, our observatory stream, which is a companion to Sky Tour Radio, is coming along nicely out in Arizona. We've got all kinds of possibilities and offers of assistance to help out there. And we'll be building the observatory building, if not coming to an arrangement with an observatory company, if possible, to actually get a building out there. But we have lots of possibilities, right? And what is Sky Tour Livestream? Sky Tour Livestream is a clear night journey into the wonders of the deep sky, all courtesy of our research-grade telescope here at the John Zach Memorial Observatory in picturesque northwestern Connecticut. In Sky Tour Livestream, we show you, this is on YouTube now, live stellar birthplaces, remnants of dead and dying stars, glittering jewel boxes of beautiful clusters, all. It's also a stream where you guys can take the lead if you want, take over the reins and say, hey, can I look at such and such an object? And if it's up, well, guess what? We'll steer the telescope toward it. So you can kind of drive, too, if you like. And we do have Amanda and Daryl as co-hosts in that as well. So if you like our happy triumvirate, you'll like us over there, too. It's a little less formal than Sky Tour Radio, right, Amanda? Don't you say?
A little less formal, yeah. Speaking of streams, I don't know if anyone mentioned, we are streaming right now on YouTube as well, on Bill NY Skywatcher.
Yes, I did.
Some New York Sky. Okay. I didn't catch that, sorry.
No, I did not. No, I said I did not mention it.
Oh, okay.
No, you did it. good thing. Thank you for mentioning that. And
So.
she's right, of course. Amanda keeps me straight now and then, and this is one of those thens. And I really appreciate
Sky
it.
is in New York, and I think we may be looking maybe at the Big Dipper. We usually look at the Pleiades, but I don't think that's what we're looking at right now.
Yes, Amanda, you're looking at the Big Dipper.
Okay.
And I've been memorizing their names lately, so I'm going to lay them on you right now. From the 2 stars at the front of the bowl, those are the pointer stars that point at Polaris, the North Star. Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see. Dubhe, Merak, Phecda, Megrez. Then in the handle is Alioth, Mizar, plus its little partner Alcor.
Yeah.
And at the end of the handle is Alcate.
You got it, man.
Yay. And I'm not looking at anything. I memorized.
Very good, Daryl.
Yes. Believe it or not, we astronomers actually can memorize some things, right? It's true. It's true. So
see, that's impressive. There are so many constellations and asterisms and, not to mention nebulas and comets and all that kind of stuff, but just the constellations, to know the names of each little star and which star belongs in which little cluster, and that is very impressive.
Well, I've been trying to memorize. I mean, I go out every clear night and I name every star I see that I know its name. And I'm trying to learn new ones all the time still. And after doing this for 40 years, I'm still learning.
Well, it's funny because I think you've been at it for a little bit longer than that, because every star I go to, it says Daryl's star, Daryl's star, Daryl's star. Hey, no. But if you want to see more stars, you want to see clusters, you want to see nebulae, you want to see deep sky objects like galaxies and nebulae that are the progenitors of stars, the stellar nursery, so to speak. And why not join SkyTour Livestream, which is on YouTube? And we go out on every clear night. We have the observatory open. Soon we'll be able to say the words. We'll have the observatories open, because our second observatory is being built in the Sonoran Desert out in western Arizona. And we will have a beautiful sky. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, and I know I'm talking to a bunch of people right now out there. The first time I saw the sky out there that we were setting up out in the pad, when I stood on the concrete pad that we poured for the observatory, I was all alone out there. Everybody else was not nearby. And I looked up in the sky, and my eyes felt wet. And I realized, holy cow, I'm actually tearing up. The sky was so beautiful and dark that I was literally having an emotional reaction to it. And this leads to one quick thing I wanted to mention before we dive into the Exoplanet Roundup. And that is that a beautiful sky, a dark sky, is a recognized ecosystem of its own. Daryl knows this. Amanda now knows this, if she hasn't heard it before. And the ecosystem is one that actually has great psychological benefit and impact on human beings. When you're in the middle of a city and you look up and you can't see anything but the reddish and bluish looking sodium vapor and LED lamp glow, that doesn't do anything for your health. When you see a night sky like it's meant to be seen in a beautiful dark sky location, you can't help but look up, and the feeling you get of that visceral feeling that pumps through you when you see that is the thing that promotes health and well-being. And that's no lie, because you show me anyone who's looked at a beautiful night sky who hasn't gone, oh, that's ugly, and moved on. I don't think you'll find a single person on the planet that's done that. All right. So
I mention light pollution issues from time to time on a certain online forum that will remain unnamed. Most people don't give a darn. They could care less, and they downvote the heck out of me every time I bring it up, because they love their city lights.
Yeah.
And that really makes me sad. Light pollution also affects wildlife in major ways. It affects migratory birds.
Yep. It does.
Uh-oh. Daryl, did you just hit mute accidentally?
I think he did. He'll be back.
Yes, I did. I'm sorry.
Better than you dropping.
Yeah. It affects baby sea turtles, too. Baby sea turtles, some of them they're programmed genetically, I guess, to leave their shells during a certain phase of the moon, and they head toward the reflection of the moon in the water, and hey, they're in the ocean just like that. But nowadays, with all the hotels and casinos built on the shorelines, well, baby turtles hatch, and instead of heading toward the sea, they head toward the bright lights of the casinos and the hotels.
That's it. Yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah, and see that's a problem we have. And I know there's an organization called the International Dark Sky Organization who's in the past has done some really good things to help get a dark sky. Arizona, for instance, has dark sky laws. You cannot put a light in the ground looking up at your sign, and just to have a ground lit sign, you can't do that because the light is going up into the air, and that is illegal. I like laws like that.
Yeah.
There's no reason to have that kind of lighting. And Connecticut, believe it or not, is now, in a sense, a dark sky state. I've watched my skies get darker since 2012 here. Okay, yes, that's 8 years ago. I couldn't see the Milky Way in Cygnus and Sagittarius the way I can see it now. And that's because the lights that are being used in order to qualify for state funding for lighting, you have to have what are called full cutoff fixtures. And what does mean are that you have fixtures where the light is not allowed to leave beyond the horizontal out of the light fixture and go up into the trees nearby or whatever. It can only aim down in a cone that's of a regimented diameter. Those are the lights that if you want to put up lights at a facility and you want to qualify for state funding, the only way you get it is if you use full cutoff fixtures. And part of that is due to Arthur Upgren, an astronomer at Van Vleck Observatory in Middletown, Connecticut. He was the observatory director, by the way, that I told you that story about in the past. He is also, he passed away, unfortunately. He was the guy who prompted the state getting that tag of being a dark sky state. It's certainly not a dark sky state. With New York and so forth nearby, the Northeast is riddled with light pollution. However, the lights are becoming, over time, more well-aimed, better placed so that the light goes down and not out to the side and up, where it used to just destroy the night sky. Now, they have LED lighting, which is cheaper, and it's more in the blue. You used to remember the sodium vapor lamps, which had that kind of weird red color, reddish pink color. You'll see that those are still there, but now they're being shared with these blue, this blue clouds of light pollution you see in the sky. I say clouds because it looks like a cloud, right? And that blue is something that was plaguing astronomers. When it was sodium vapor lamps, I could easily remove the sodium vapor influence on my photographs. All I had to do was to use a specific filter called a sky glow filter that would remove that. Well, now sky glow filters are ineffectual because they take out the sodium vapor lamp, but they leave the blue from the LED lights. So now we don't have that. But tonight after Sky Tour Radio, I'm going to be aligning the scope in Sky Tour live stream, and we're going to open the observatory and we're going to stream. And we're going to look at the new filter that I've got, which is going to actually show how you can cut out all of those other frequencies, the bad ones, and use only the good ones. Now, it turns out there's some caveats with it, but I want to show people how this looks because we will be using it in Arizona, even though we don't have light pollution as much in Arizona. I say as much because wherever you go, there's light pollution. Even in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you have light pollution, and some of it might actually be natural, and that might be due to something that is caused by the molecules in our atmosphere. It's called sky glow.
Yep.
It's a greenish hue, and then there's a yellowish hue from sodium ions and atoms in the atmosphere. So there's a whole bunch of factors. So even under this atmosphere, we can't get away from it. Even in the darkest spots on Earth, then the sky glow itself, that glow that's systemic to the molecules and the makeup and composition of the atmosphere are still a problem. So unless we get above the atmosphere, we're not going to see a true sky. However, we can do pretty well. and Skytour Livestream out in Arizona is going to be one step toward that, I guess, in my view. And now, if you actually want to talk to us, Skytour Radio does have a call-in line. We've talked to you about this before. Its number is 85KGRA Live. And later in the show, if we decide we're going to take calls, Amanda, I hope, will put that in the chat. If not, we'll have our producer Bill put it in the chat, because the chat client is really problematic, and there's not a whole lot of people that like it. Now, if you want to talk to us in email, you can reach us at skytourradio@kgraradio.com. Now, and this is a story that Amanda sent me earlier, and it was one I knew about, but I thought, hey, well, this is a good one to talk about. In the Exoplanet Roundup tonight, as we now proceed down the channels of Skytour Radio, one of the things that I thought was pretty interesting, Amanda, that you sent me, was this star called WASP-76. Now, WASP doesn't mean it's related to bees, okay? It means that it's the wide-angle search for planets. That's what that is. And this is star 76, WASP-76. Now, it's an F-type star. And I'm going to ask Amanda. Now, I haven't talked to her about this in a long time, so let's see how she retains this stuff. Yes, you're on the spot, girl.
Oh, my God.
What is an
This is because I missed last week, isn't it?
No, not at all. Not at all. No, you were sick. That doesn't count. What's an F-type star, Amanda, not Daryl? What's an F-type star as opposed to a G-type star?
Hold on. Let me think about this.
And you can do it.
Would be a fine guy. What's the difference between like an F and a G?
Yes, and don't say a letter.
Well, I think our sun is a G.
Correct.
Okay, so I would say the F is probably bigger, bluer. No, maybe not necessarily bluer, but bigger and hotter.
Yeah, you got it, girl. This is great. See, this is why I put you on the spot sometimes, because you know
I
more.
keep thinking maybe you're looking for more, and it's a trick question. I don't trust myself yet.
I don't ever ask trick questions. I don't ask you for impossibilities.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. It's a bigger, hotter star.
Not necessarily bluer, though.
Well, I mean, in terms of the color, its color is hotter, so therefore it's more toward the blue end of the spectrum. But it's actually, it's actually more of a white star. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's not. It's a whitish yellow. It's not a yellow.
Like an O star would be blue.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That's right. But you're right, and to say it's bluer is not incorrect. It is bluer than a G-type star. And when we talk about color like that and with a star, we're talking about bluer stars are hotter in temperature. Okay, and cooler stars are redder. Tending toward the red means you're going into the cool zone. Tending toward the blue means you're going into the hotter zone. So calling it a bluer color is not wrong, although the star isn't blue to the eye. But the F-stars are they are slightly larger and hotter. In this case, the WASP-76 is larger and hotter than the sun. And I think the interesting thing here is when we look at WASP-76, and when the wide-angle search for planets was used to look at WASP-76, it found another planet around the star. Now, that's not odd. We expected that you could find planets around stars like this. But what's really odd about this particular star is the proximity of its planet to the star. Now, the planet is almost the mass of Jupiter. It's a gas giant. Now, it has an orbital radius from the star of literally 0.033 astronomical units. Now, what does that mean? Remember, an astronomical unit is 93 million miles. That's the distance from the Earth to the sun on average. And this star has a planet that's only 0.033 astronomical units away. And this is, again, a hotter, bigger star than our sun. Now, that means that this planet is just over 3 million miles from its star. That sounds like a lot, all right? However, let's compare this to Mercury with a cooler star, our sun. Okay, Mercury is 0.44 astronomical units away, and its surface can melt lead. Okay, 0.44 astronomical units. So this other planet is only 0.033 astronomical units. Isn't that crazy? Mercury is 41,000 miles from the sun, and 41 million miles from the sun. This planet is 3 million miles from its sun. So you can see how it's a heck of a lot closer, and it's Jupiter-sized. Now, it's 10 times closer to that hotter star than Mercury is to our star. So you can imagine that the temperatures on this gas giant are immense. And the other thing is, because it's so close, there's something else that is characteristic of a planet this close to its star. And I think maybe Daryl or Amanda, both of you may know this. Do you know why? What characterizes a planet that's so very close to its star? What kind of thing happens to a planet that is that close to its star?
I have a guess.
What's your guess, Amanda?
Oh, it's such a long shot, and I don't know why this popped into my mind, but could it maybe become tidally locked?
Daryl, what do you say to her?
Oh my God. Am I so far off?
What do you say?
I say yay, Amanda.
Yay?
Right?
Really?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Bravo.
Roll. I'm not talking for the rest of the show. I got 2 in a row. I'm good.
No, you don't get away with that. But yes, you're right. It's tidally locked, meaning that it has one side that always faces the star. Now, what does that mean? It means that on the day side, nice day, that's scorching temperatures of near, ready for this, 2,400 Celsius or 4,350 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the day side temperature. Now, that's hot enough to vaporize iron. Iron's number 26 in the periodic table, and it's hot enough to vaporize iron. All right, and send this vapor, iron vapor, up into the atmosphere, where it has the ability to form these strange clouds in the upper atmosphere of this planet. Now, since it's tidally locked, that means that there's a dark side that's always dark. Now, you might say, wow, well, the dark side, hey, maybe that's a little bit cooler. It is. It's a lot cooler. In fact, it's hugely cooler. And on the dark side, the temperature drops enough so that this liquid iron in the clouds can actually rain out. So molten iron in the atmosphere rains out as you cross from the light side to the dark side of this planet. Or should we say hell? I mean, it sounds like this is hell. I mean, and what is that temperature difference between the day and night side, you might ask? Well, the night side temperature drops to a fairly cool 1,500 Celsius, which is only 2,730 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, hey, that's a lot less than 4,350 Fahrenheit, right? So, hey, that's a lot cooler. But because the day side is so hot and the night side is about half as hot, that actually spurs on these massive global wind systems. You think the jet stream is big here? Oh, okay. The jet stream over there goes all the way around the planet and helps transport the heat to the far side of the planet. So the relatively cool 2,730 degrees Fahrenheit night side is actually kind of nice, I mean, if you go out, leave the windows open at night, you get a nice breeze. Are either of you ready to go?
Not me.
Yeah, right.
If the sun don't tan, you can tan in the English rain or something like that, huh, Amanda?
Is that the line from I'm the Walrus?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Is that a Beatles thing?
It is a Beatles thing.
I know. I did know. I knew that much of it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
For those of you that didn't know, and I haven't talked about it with her for a long time, Amanda is a huge Beatles fan. In fact, I think lives, eats, and breathes Beatles. Me, I never cared. My sister listened to them. I have the very first Beatles album ever produced, and I go like, oh, whoop-de-doo. It's a record album. I'll never listen to it. But, and I talked to Amanda about it. But, I mean, they're a great band. I mean, they had a huge impact. They were a great band, and they had a huge impact on the music industry. And for some people, yes, they're the best. And I'm not going to take away that they were quite a sensation, because if my sister was any indicator, they were. So that said, moving to the next news item I want to go through with you before we hit our feature. Yes?
On that note,
yes,
maybe we should take a break first.
Oh, really?
I know. Welcome back, Mother Hen. I know.
Yeah, no, actually, that's probably a good idea, isn't it? I'm looking at the clock. All right. Well, you know what, folks? Thanks to Amanda, we have to stop now, but we'll be back right after these words. I'm Mark Antonio with Amanda, the mother hen, as she said, and Daryl, who's sitting there shaking his head going, what have I got into? We'll be right back.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com. Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied, but you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Coming this April 10th through the 12th, it's the 33rd Annual Ozark Mountain UFO Conference. Find out the latest information from speakers like author Whitley Strieber, Missing 411's David Paulides, The Devil's Den Abduction Terry Lovelace, Princess Janae from the Farsight Institute, and many more. There's a dinner with the Speakers Banquet Saturday night, and Sunday's Life in the Universe panel hosted by George Norrie. Robin Bird and I will be there in the Vendors Mall, so come see us. Visit OzarkUFOConference.com for tickets. That's OzarkUFOConference.com.
Mainstream media's most wanted. KGRARadio.com.
Hey, welcome back to SkyTour Radio. You're stuck here for the next hour and a half with Mark D'Antonio, that's me, I think, and Daryl Mason and Amanda Curran. During the break, Daryl mentioned a story about extraterrestrial life, possibly, or the building blocks of life being found in an Algerian meteorite. And I'd like to have him go through that story with you because it really is a very cool find. It kind of reminds me of the Murchison meteorite, which had amino acids in it. But take it away, Daryl.
Okay. My sister sent me this, actually. I had heard the story, but I hadn't read the details. A meteorite was discovered in Algeria, and scientists drilled into it and took samples from the middle of the meteorite and subjected it to chemical processes and mass spectroscopy or something like that. And they think they found a protein buried in the center of the meteorite. And this is a first. They have found amino acids in meteorites before. They have never found a protein. And the one thing that struck me in the article, they mentioned that the protein structure was such that it had caps on the ends made of oxygen, lithium, and iron. And they have never seen such a thing before. So here's your alien ooey-oo angle, you know. That's really all I have to say about that. Do you have anything you want to add? I mean, yeah, this reminded me of the Antarctica meteorite back in the 90s. I was camping for a week down in the San Juan Mountains in southwest Colorado, and I was doing astronomy programs down there. And this was before the internet. And I was doing a program one night, and the audience starts asking me, hey, how about that Australian meteorite? They think they found bacteria in. And I had no idea what they were talking about because I'd been out of touch. You know, I hadn't seen or heard the news in a week. Yeah. But you know, just the thought that a possibly alien protein, has been discovered.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, and this is to everybody out there, a vast number of you have wondered whether life actually arrived on Earth or was formed here on Earth. I don't think it's one or the other. I never did. I think that it's always been a concert between arrivals and indigenous. Okay? We've always had the indigenous possibilities of the carbon atom being put to the test. Carbon, the most prolific atom in the periodic table, has more things that it can bind with and bond with than any other atom at all. And so it's the most flexible atom there is. Silicon is a very, very far distant second. And so Earth and the indigenous capabilities of the planet were going a long way to creating life here. However, then these things happened also all throughout our history. Well, they had to have provided some kind of input. There had to be something that they started. And then it blended with whatever the indigenous life generating mechanisms were producing and created this new variation. Well, to us, looking at it from millions of years later, billions of years even, and then comparing it to present day, trying to sequence how it all happened, we're probably looking at things that combined to form a new process, but don't even recognize that because of the fact that it is a billions-year-old, maybe millions-year-old process we're trying to reverse engineer from this great distance in time. So it's possible that this happened. And yes, the term is panspermia that we've talked about before. But that's bringing life to the planet and the building blocks of life. So that is, in effect, what this Algerian meteorite is, isn't it, Daryl?
Seems like it. You mentioned the utility of carbon and building life and such because it's such a useful substance. Well, I thought of that when I read that about those end caps that had lithium in them, oxygen, lithium, and iron. I kind of wondered where lithium might stand in comparison to carbon. Lithium is the third lightest element, correct?
Yeah, and it's actually, don't make me sing the periodic table now. I'll do that for a show, on a show eventually. But yes, lithium is a very light element, and there's not a whole lot of it. And that's the thing. When we look at certain isotopes in stars that are made, they're short-lived, and then they move on to something else. So we have lower abundances of certain things. Carbon is a target, element that's built in the stars. Oxygen, neon, etc. Those are built in the stars. So it's very interesting because when we look at lithium being part of these so-called end caps, I don't know what the term end caps means. I think that it means the terminus of the protein molecule or something.
Right.
and if that's what it means in their terminology here, then I find it interesting that lithium is there at all. I would think it's so rare that there has to be a reason that it's there. It had to come from a lithium-rich area, or it extracted whatever lithium the process that made this protein extracted lithium for some particular reason.
Most lithium came from the Big Bang, did it not?
Yeah, exactly. And there is, like I said, when you look at the process in stars, stars do create lithium in their atmospheres, but it's quickly changed. It fuses into something beyond. The isotope changes quickly. It decays fast. So whether why lithium would be there in this protein, it kind of stands to point out that something odd is going on in the universe. Go figure. As if we have all the answers. I mean, it's like last week's SkyTour Radio. We talked about where astronomy doesn't work, right? We talked about the age of the universe through the Hubble constant, trying to figure out the expansion rate of the universe and finding out that it's accelerating. We figured out that galaxies rotate like a rigid disk, not in not in a Newtonian physics manner that we can understand. And that's why we had to come up with number one, dark energy for the first and dark matter for the second, to explain this activity and why this was happening. Now, finding a protein molecule inside of a meteorite is interesting because being capped with lithium in particular, the iron I'm not so worried about, but it's the lithium that really, not worried, but concerned with. But the lithium being in there, that is weird, okay? Because, lithium is an element that's really not in great abundance here, but it's something that is also not in great abundance in the universe either. So where did this come from? And what does it mean? Is it a protein? Like they say, they've never seen this before on protein. That means it's a new type of protein.
In the article, they called it a hemolith, HEMOLITH.
Yeah,
and that literally means blood stone.
Hemolythin protein. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, iron is in hemoglobin, and maybe that's where the hemo comes from.
Well, the oxygen too, I suspect. But the lithium, that's odd. Really odd, If you look at the way the human body depends on lithium, I mean, there is a dependency there. I don't know the dependency right off the top of my head. I'm an astronomer, not a biologist, Jim. That kind of thing. But still, I would like to pursue that and figure out what's going on there. There's got to be a research paper out there that I can dig up in one of the journals that might shed some light. So I think that's pretty cool. But so yeah, I want to thank Daryl for digging that story up. Actually, his sister. Thank you, sis, for digging up that story. Yeah, I think
I'll tell her you said thanks.
I mean, she doesn't listen to the show every single week, Daryl?
Maybe. I don't know. I've given him the links before.
Okay. Well, you can lead
I'll give her a hard time.
You can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink, right?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty cool. I mean, let's be honest. Proteins are the workhorse molecules of life. That's, it states that in the article, and it's actually true in biology. So clearly, if they're there, then it means that there's some type of potential link to organic tissue somewhere along the line. Of course, we'll find out in 100 years that they drilled into the center of a meteorite, which is actually an alien egg deposited here by this gigantic UFO that dropped these living eggs onto the planet, and we killed one of its babies. Yeah.
There you go.
I don't think so, but anyway.
Well, okay, don't get me talking about the Horta from Star Trek.
Oh, kill I. Cry, children. The halls of tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Horta was great.
I sent my sister, we send each other stuff like this all the time, that we run across. And I sent her that article last week. I sent you about the cometary impact over in Syria.
Yeah.
That, it must have incinerated everybody instantly.
Yeah.
And it coated everything in molten glass, which I just thought was fascinating.
Yep.
And her observation as a non-scientist was, gee, maybe that's where the idea of a vengeful supreme being came from.
Interesting. Yeah, why would you not think that when you look up at the sky and you think that there has to be some greater, higher power that you worship, that's responsible for it, and then all of a sudden you find that your field has been hit by a meteorite that now showers your buildings with glass and kills off your entire village and everyone you've known all around you, well, you would, of course, I would think it'd be natural to think that, what did I do wrong? You know? Yeah.
Anyway.
No, that was a great story last week, too, on that. I really liked that story.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's now under Lake Assad, you know, the village that when they put the dam in that flooded out that entire valley with this ancient ruins in it, which kind of stinks, but that's what it was. Amanda, how you doing over there? You got anything you want to add?
I'm well. I'm just listening, taking it all in.
Okay. All right. If you see any questions in the chat, by the way, feel free to pass them in along the way here. I'm happy to take these questions from anybody.
We did have one from Ronald from way back, actually. Slipped my mind. It was regarding John Lear, so let's all take a deep breath. He wants to know what you think about John Lear's claim that there are 40 planets in our system.
Well, let me couple that with his other claim that he told me, which is that there are also over 43 civilizations living inside the sun.
Ah.
Yes, you heard me. Inside the sun. Now, to all those out there that are scratching their heads, join the group. I think that the man is a phenomenal guy. He's been a leader in the aircraft industry and aeronautics. But I think he should kind of leave the astronomy to the astronomers. I think that this stuff, I think he's out of his depth on this one, you know. But I like him very much.
Do you know why he thinks that? Either about the sun or the 40 planets in our solar system? Like, do you know where he's...
Yeah, I asked him about the sun thing, and he steered me to YouTube videos. And it's like, no, John, no, that's not good enough. You can't believe that. You know, but you know, he's trying to get some information out there that he believes is correct, and you know, I give him credit for doing so. I don't agree that the information is correct, but I don't say stop. I want him to, you know, continue to you know, study and keep looking, because there's people like that will eventually make some profound discoveries someday.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, if there's somewhere he was going with that, like, you know.
What I thought of that was a 40 planets part at any rate. I mean, is he looking at spherical or near spherical objects? You know, and this gets into the whole Pluto, you know, planet or dwarf planet thing. You know, they say we're Pluto a pill short, and they decided to call it a dwarf planet because it didn't meet one of the modern criteria for the definition of a planet, which I believe was that it sweeps out its own orbit.
Yeah. And incidentally, Charles Smar in the chat and threw out a question that I was about to actually answer before it was asked, and it ties on to what we're talking about here. He could have also been talking about the additional items out in the objects out in the Kuiper Belt that have been found. The Kuiper Belt is the objects that are out beyond Neptune. All right, they start off as a belt, and then you actually have an Oort belt as well, the OORT belt beyond that, and then there's an Oort cloud that goes around all of it. You know, that's all over in all directions, spherical around the solar system, and out in the Kuiper Belt, they actually found these new objects, and because they're beyond Neptune, they're called trans-Neptunian objects, or TNOs. And these TNOs, they found, I think they said it was like 136 of these. I think that number might be different, but like 136 found that they never even knew were there. And these are all small objects. We're not talking about 136 planets. We're talking about little TNOs, asteroid type things. And imagine, if you would, the amazing capabilities of modern astronomy to be able to find these things. You know, it's really cool. Now, talk about finding these things. There's another tiny little object that has been found that is really interesting because it's about the size of a compact car. Okay, so imagine a little Hyundai kind of floating around out there. Okay, nobody in it, just the car. Okay, or Starman's Tesla. Okay, with Starman in the driver's seat, like Musk had launched. Okay, and it turns out that this object was found by the Catalina Sky Survey, and it found out that this object, designated 2020 CD3, I love those names, is a magnitude 20 and fainter. 20, the bigger the numbers in magnitude, the fainter they are. Okay, Vega, for instance, in the summer sky, which is right overhead in the middle of August, that bright star is magnitude 0. Okay, we've talked about Betelgeuse getting dimmer. It's gone from like a magnitude or near 1 to less, to a higher number, and now it's actually brightening again. So we think
it is.
Yeah, we thought maybe it's a cloud of dust that got in the way of Betelgeuse that it had expelled. Okay, so
I think the last I saw, they said Betelgeuse had brightened to Mag 1.3 or something like that.
Yeah, and this thing here is magnitude 20 or fainter, which is 2020 CD3. And what is it? Why, it's Earth's new moon, of course. You heard me. Earth has a new mini moon, kind of like Mini Me, okay, and the Austin Powers. Well, this is a mini moon, and its distance varies from 0.2 to 4.5 Earth moon distances, and it takes about a month to circle the Earth, kind of like the moon. But its orbit is really chaotic. It doesn't just do an ellipse. It does this really strange dance, and because of that, it's actually going to drift out of Earth's influence. So what that means is this object that's about the size of a small compact car, which if it hit the Earth would be spectacular to see, wouldn't really hurt much unless enough of it got to the ground. But the fact is that it's so chaotic, and thus being tugged and pulled by other objects in the inner solar system, that Earth just managed to capture this little asteroid for a period of time. And now it's going to be with us for some time to come, but then it's going to eventually go away. It's going to leave Earth's influence eventually, because it actually does do this varied motion around our planet. It's not a regular ellipse. It's a really chaotic motion. However, so if people say, you got to go out tonight to see the moons, and they correct you, you mean the moon? No, the moons. And then you can say, well, Earth has a mini moon along with the big moon. And they'll say, what? And you'll say, yeah. And they'll say, no. And you'll say, yeah. It's actually kind of cool.
There was also another one a few years ago that also moved in a chaotic orbit. It sounded like a similar kind of deal.
Yes,
if I remember right, the orbit shape was like a kidney bean or something.
It was strange, very strange. But see, here's what happens. Okay, sometimes these objects get into a resonant pattern with the other objects moving around in the inner solar system.
Yep.
And they're right on the edge. It's like trying to balance a ball on the top of a pointed building. Okay, I mean, any slight variation, anything that changes slightly, if the solar wind changes enough, it could push it off the hill, so to speak. Well, that's kind of, when you see these chaotic orbits, that's kind of what we're looking at. Now, like I said, it's kind of cool to know that we have a new moon circling us, for a period of time. And it shows us something very important, though. And I think you'll agree with this, Daryl, and you, Amanda. It shows us that the local space around us really does change in a somewhat big way from time to time. If you could see, for instance, if we go out to the asteroid belt, if you could see what happens to the motions of the asteroids as Jupiter is orbiting farther out, away from those asteroids. Well, they're orbiting faster. So as they come around, as they approach the proximity of Jupiter, I should say, as they get closer to Jupiter, you actually see them go higher and farther away from the sun in their orbits. So they leave that relative stability of their orbits, and they start going toward Jupiter a little bit. And then after they pass by, they fall back down into their other orbit. Now, they're doing that en masse. They're all doing this together as they each pass Jupiter. This marshalling effect certainly has an effect on what happens in our outer solar system, whether asteroids will collide with each other, they're being pulled away toward Jupiter. Their velocities are changing. Then they come back. Now, if it just so happens that one of these asteroids strikes another, it could set it off on a path that could take 400,000 years or 1,000,000 years or 10 years to set it on a collision course to head toward the inner solar system. And maybe that's what this mini-moon was one of these accidental dislodgements, my little made-up word, of these asteroids out there in the asteroid belt. Again, possibly caused by Jupiter. And maybe it took many, many years, dozens, thousands, it could have been thousands of years for this to migrate in its orbit to where it is now. But it's not going to be there for a long time. Not like our moon at all. So I think it's pretty cool. We have a new moon circling us. And we can see that the dynamics of the outer solar system can affect what's going on in the inner solar system. But like I said, nothing to worry about. This little mini moon is literally the size of a compact car. And if you can imagine, if you dumped a Hyundai off in the upper atmosphere, or actually up in space by the ISS and slowed it down, it would eventually re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, burn up, and you might get the radio knob left over when it got to the ground. But other than that, as long as it was made of titanium. But other than that, you wouldn't get much left at all. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, a wonderful, another interesting story that I wanted to bring up, and this we'll give up right before the break, is that astronomers have actually discovered invisible stars. Ooh, what is that? I mean, I should make you wait till after the break, but I won't, because it's actually not as wild as it sounds. I saw the story, astronomers discover invisible stars so dim you can't see them at all. Wow, that's so cool. Then when I read it, I was like, oh, that's like a bait and switch. Well, not really. See, here's what happened. We weren't looking for stars that you couldn't see. We were trying to look at something beyond where these stars were, and we noticed that there was a particular star that was dimming and brightening in a really peculiar way. And, we thought, well, hey, maybe this star is having some weird properties that are going on here. But based on the pattern that was being exhibited by this star, it didn't fit anything that we knew. So they determined that it was probably caused by a binary system of very small, very dim stars closer to us that happened to be between us and this object. And as these binary stars orbited each other, they actually produced a gravitational microlens on the more distant star. And this could have caused the star to vary in its brightness. So, the stars that are doing this are each, it's a binary system. So one is 57% the size of the sun, one is 36% the mass actually of the sun. And they orbit each other every 2.88 years. So these microlensing events teach us a great many things about the universe. Now the question is, well, why couldn't we see these stars? Well, they're far away. And we can see the effects on light from tens of thousands, millions of light years away. So looking at the effects from these dim stars, their brightness is nothing that we can see with our telescopes. But the effect on the light they have from a more distant star is something that we can see. And that's actually how this binary star system was found. If you went up close to it, you'd see these two bright stars if you could get near them. Okay? But they're probably red dwarf stars, maybe a red giant and a red dwarf. But either way, their mass is such, and their luminosity, their intrinsic brightness, right, is such that we can't see these two stars. But we can see what they do to the light of a star behind them. And that's the cool thing. So now, this microlens event is something now that is allowing us to look for black holes now. Because there's theories that some black holes are rogue and running amok in the universe. And this technique can be used to scan the heavens and look for strangely varying light. And if so, then maybe instead of a binary pair of stars, maybe it's a black hole that's causing the starlight to be dimming and brightening in odd ways. Maybe the microlens event is that. But I'll tell you, the universe throws really strange things at us, doesn't it? It really does. And yep. And we'll talk more about that when we come back. But before you go, I'll just give you a little teaser. When we come back, we're going to get into our feature tonight. We're going to talk about abductions. We're going to talk about implants, extraterrestrial life. What features would we expect to see of extraterrestrial life based on the stars they might come from? See, now it's like diving into science fiction. It's kind of a place that I love to go. But I'm going to talk about a few of these other things first, because these are real phenomena that are being reported. So we'd be remiss if we didn't at least pay some attention to them, okay? So that and more when we come back. I'm Mark D'Antonio with Amanda Curran and, of course, Daryl Mason. And we will be turning right around at the other end of this break and coming back to you in just a couple of minutes. Be right back.
Ew, yuck. They're unhealthy and gross. Bugs, I hate bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. From contact, it kills bugs. Plus, Orange Guard kills hidden bugs and keeps new bugs away for weeks. I know. I use Orange Guard. Plus, all of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally regarded as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It promotes a healthier planet, and here's a bonus. Orange Guard cleans where it's sprayed. Plus, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard.
You can get Orange Guard at Ace Hardware. And listen, folks, Orange Guard is tougher than bugs, and it's safe to use. Go to orangeguard.com. That's orangeguard.com.
Hey, this check is wrong. I worked a holiday and 7 hours of overtime. Not getting paid correctly is a real pain. It could also hurt our boss if our company provides out-of-compliance checks. That's right, construction companies doing business with the government can get fined, or officials of the companies can go to jail if the checks aren't right. It's a law. The Davis-Bacon Act has 30 compliance issues for every check, but there is an easy way for construction companies to be in compliance. EMARS offers Compliant Client, a web-based system that finds and corrects all 30 of the possible out-of-compliance check issues. Users of Compliant Client report an 80% savings in time and money. Running a weekly payroll usually takes about 5 minutes. All 15,000 plus clients of EMARS have never had a legal compliance issue. Plus, they sleep better on check day. Contact EMARS at emarsinc.com or call 480-595-0466.
Join me, George Norrie, in Indian Wells, California for the 8th Annual Contact in the Desert UFO Conference, May 29th to June 1st. Contact in the Desert is an epic weekend of adventure filled with exciting explorations into UFOs, ancient alien civilizations, crop circles, forbidden archaeology, disclosure, leading-edge science, and the newest evidence of ongoing contact, sightings, and leading-edge science. This amazing weekend offers lectures and workshops, exciting panels, and a luncheon that I'm hosting. Contact in the Desert also features leading experts including Linda Moulton Howe, Paul Hellyer, Stephen Greer, Emery Smith, Russell Targ, Doc Wallach, Leslie Kane, and many important researchers and scientists from all over the world. With the breaking articles in the New York Times and acknowledged naval sightings, Contact in the Desert is your place for inside information. Join us at contactinthedesert.com to get your tickets today. It's time to make contact. That's contactinthedesert.com. Contactinthedesert.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Now you have the inside contact for alternative talk radio. The Planet. KGRAradio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Sky Tour Radio. This is Mark D'Antonio, causing problems for Bill, the producer, as always, on the background. And now that we're back, I promised we'd get into our feature, and tonight we will. And the thing that I wanted to talk about, if you remember last week, we talked about where science fails us, I should say, fails to explain some of the observations we see in the universe. We talked about the expansion of the universe and how Edwin Hubble back in 1929 came up with a constant of recessional velocity, that is to see how fast was the universe expanding, basically. And that number was called the Hubble constant and was, hard-coded, basically, into our culture, our science. And then we figured out through telescopes like the Planck telescope that actually the Hubble constant isn't, and it actually changes. The universe is not just expanding, it's accelerating outward. And the only explanation that could cover that is this strange thing called dark energy. Dark energy is a repulsive force. It pushes everything else away from it. And that's the only explanation that could explain what was going on with this expansion rate of the universe. Then we talked about how galaxies, when they rotate, you would think that the stars near the center, this is last week I'm talking about now, summarizing, stars near the center of the galaxy, when actually you would think that they would go faster around the center of the galaxy, much like Mercury goes around the sun in 88 days, and Pluto takes a leisurely several hundred years to go around the sun. Okay, so you would think that it would work that way, but in fact we find that the stars on the outside of the galaxy are traveling at breakneck speeds, and that the stars inside the core of the galaxy, near the nucleus, are not traveling nearly as fast. So in other words, the galaxy was rotating more like a rigid disk, and that led to a hypothesis that there had to be something more, a halo of material we could not see around all galaxies that assisted them in rotating this way as a rigid disk, and that's where dark matter came from. And so you see, we talked about how science fails us. Well, in the same way, we have another element to science that has not been successful at explaining what people actually experience. These are subjective experiences. Betty and Barney Hill, Travis Walton, some of you listening, all right, will talk about having seen creatures that you can't explain. It'll talk about having been taken by creatures you can't explain. And then, we call them abductions, right? And so when we talk about things like this, we're at a loss to say whether it's true or not. And people are ridiculed. People are made fun of and called names. Okay, within the UFO community, there's not much of that going on because at least the people in the UFO community are open-minded enough to know that we don't know all the answers. Science can be arrogant at times, and just basically call people like that medically infirmed or some kind of strange thing. But the fact of the matter is that there are people out there that have had strange experiences they cannot explain, that hold up under inquisition with hypnosis and so forth. And what are they? We don't know. But I'm a science person. And rather than just say, oh, I don't believe that, it's baloney. Rather than say that, I say, well, there's evidence that something's going on. So let's figure out what it is. It doesn't have to be aliens, but it might be aliens, extraterrestrial life that has found us. Because the reason I say that is because I don't see why that's an impossibility. I look at the universe and I look at the distances between stars and I say, yeah, for us at this stage in our evolution, that's a huge distance. But we already see ways to go interstellar that we can't do yet, but we will. And so therefore, we are going to be able to do this eventually. We're going to be able to go interstellar. We're going to be able to go to other stars. We're going to be able to colonize other places. And you'll find people that write articles on why we'll never colonize Mars. Okay, sure. Why we'll never colonize an island in the Pacific? I mean, it might have been a story back in the 1700s or 1800s. Why we'll never colonize an island out in the Pacific or in the Atlantic? Okay, but in fact, there's almost no place on Earth we haven't been. The only the only continent that's least explored on our planet is Antarctica. And it's just inhospitable to us. So we have to have quite a lot of preparation to go there. So that said, when we talk about abductions of people, we have to look at some of the models for why, for abduction, how people might be getting abducted, why do it in the first place. And if you think about it, and some of you out there are going to say, yeah, that's true when I say this. We do this. We do abductions as well. No, I don't mean the men in black abduct you and say, don't ever talk about this or I will, rip out your eyeballs or whatever. We do this with animals. It's how we acquire data. It's how we track elk. It's how we figure out where those black bear are going. We tranquilize them, okay? Which they can't talk. They can't tell us how they're feeling. But can you imagine? All right? You're an elk traveling through the Yukon. All of a sudden, you feel a little pain in your rump. And now all of a sudden, you're getting dizzy and you fall down and these weird creatures come around you and do things and touch you and do stuff. And then you're waking up and you get up and you go, wow, let me get out of here. And you run. And you don't pay any attention to the big giant radio collar that you're not wearing or the big yellow tag hanging out of your ear. But as people, all right, see, we're a smart species. So I don't think that an advanced species is going to, have a big giant radio collar on us. I mean, Larson did a really funny cartoon about that. Okay, where the guy had a big radio collar around his neck and didn't even notice it, kind of a thing. But the thing is, we tag animals, right? So it's how we acquire data. We abduct the animal for a period of time, and we release it back into the wild. Isn't that just what might be happening to us? Through some intelligence. It's possible. We can't say it's not happening. But because we're intelligent, any advanced species here that does this kind of thing to get its knowledge about who we are would have to use more clandestine methods to do it, because we're not stupid and they know it. We can hurt them. There's no doubt.
I kind of hate to bring it up, and it's just another crazy thought I'm having in these crazy times we're living in. But if aliens did track a whole bunch of us, like we track deer or whatever,
yeah.
What do you think's going on now with all the isolation worldwide? Do you think that's really throwing their trackers off? Like, why all of a sudden is normal kind of lifestyles being altered so radically worldwide?
That's a really good question. And my answer
is another crazy thing I was just thinking as you were talking about that. Just
it's not
if
crazy.
we were being tracked, how weird would that be for an alien life to be following right now?
Yeah,
would they be concerned?
Maybe
we'll see some.
That's my I Love Lucy scenario again. If they really are here tracking people, they're monitoring our media. They probably have a pretty darn good idea what's going on.
If they understand our language, I mean, there's no guarantee they can. It would take
just for tracking purposes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They may wonder why it's happening. They might not even be aware that there's a virus. Because I don't know that they could understand our media. The language is not universal, so there's no possibility that they would come here knowing our language. It would have to be acquired. And could they learn? Sure, they could probably learn. Yeah, I'm sure they could learn.
I bet they're Star Trek fans too.
I bet.
Well, I was just going on the analogy of like as if we were tracking animals, like if we were tracking like fish in the ocean or something. If they were tracking such a large number of us, I don't know.
Well, in general,
I just think that would throw their tracking system off and maybe pique their interest. Maybe we'll be seeing more sightings.
Yeah, and maybe more people will go missing, right? And then only to turn up somewhere else, say, hey, what happened? See, all these things are tied together. Someone who's abducted also complains of missing time and also may complain of having something shoved up in their sinus or elsewhere. Okay. So like as an implant. So, I mean, there's people that complain about these things. And again, from a scientific perspective, we can't just discount this. We can't just say, oh, that isn't happening. That's not happening. That, just because you say so doesn't mean it's not happening. All right. it's happening to people that claim it's happening, and that doesn't mean it is. But we have to look at evidence. We have to try and figure out if something's changed. So to your question about whether they would recognize whether there's a lot of isolation right now, overall, I don't know that they would notice a difference because people are still going to work. Some places are being closed down for a while. You know, like my son's still going to work. They're both still going to work. You know,
lack of major social gatherings.
They say that the air pollution over China has improved tremendously just because there's so little social activity going on there now due to the quarantines and all. I bet any aliens observing us would doubtless notice something like that.
And they probably say, let's give the Chinese awards for cleaning up their planet, when in fact it's all by accident. You know, but see, these are all good questions, good discussions to have, you know. Now, in the abduction field, I mean, no one stands higher than the man who passed on, unfortunately, in researching them, higher than Bud Hopkins. He was the most prolific researcher in this arena, and when I had a problem with this with one of my children, he said that I should get him down to see him in Manhattan. Don't worry about the cost. It's free. Just come down. And if you can get him here, I'll talk to him and try and figure out what actually happened. And then Bud got sick. He passed away, and we never got to answer the question. And, of course, my son moved on with his life and hasn't looked back. So I'm not going to remind him about it. But it was a very traumatic time for him. So anyway, that as well. You know, we lose the researchers that actually have some of the answers and have some of the abilities to pull this stuff out. And I think it's important. Now, I had an experience of my own with this phenomenon, and every time I try to remember it, all I see is a white room. I don't see anything in there. I know there's stuff in there. I'm trying to get in there. It's like I'm trying to break down a wall that's inside my head. I can't get in. It's been shut and locked. And I keep trying to get in. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night, you know, sweating because I'm trying to get through this, you know, see what's through that white. I can see just barely, and then boom, I'm awake. You know, it's almost like I'm being locked out and then forcibly locked out. So whatever happened is something that, you know, whatever that process is it maybe just a neurological thing? Yeah, maybe. Okay, heaven knows I haven't had an easy time medically, you know. I did have brain surgery 27 years ago. And then all this stuff started. So either I'm susceptible to it or it's part of the maturing of the latent assault site where they did the surgery, for all we know. But I had brainwave tests. I wore monitors that were stuck to my skull for, you know, a day or two at a time just to figure out if stuff was going on. All the medical tests showed negative. There was nothing wrong with my brain. Yet I still saw and heard things that weren't there. I mean, it was just incredible stuff. But this whole abduction thing, there's something here. I've had some kind of experience, and it's not because I want to. I don't want to. I'm just saying this is what happened, and I don't know what to do about it. Because, you know, every time I try to penetrate into it, it almost like it doubles down and pushes me out harder than I tried to push in. It's like a double strength rebounding rubber wall. As soon as you go in, it's like bam, it shuts you out faster than you walked in. It's amazing. So I don't know what this is. Okay, so that's as far as I can go with that. I don't even know. I can't even go there. I don't even know when else to go in. But you know, the next thing that people will report is missing time. Many people have had missing time, but you know, the point I'm talking about with missing time is where you lose not just 15 minutes, you know, maybe because you dozed off at your desk, but where I'm talking about many hours. Maybe you were driving somewhere and you never got there because it was late. Like you wake up and all of a sudden it's hours later. It's like, what? Whoa, wait. Why am I back in my car? And how come I'm nowhere near where I was driving? You know, that kind of thing. And that thing that's happened too. And there's many reports of people that are losing time out of their lives. Now, yes, as I said, there could be medical reasons or some other reason that's related to just a mundane process by which you lost some time. That's possible. But then there's other things. Like, for instance, the experience that I had when I was a kid. I was in grammar school, and we were going on a field trip. And we were going to a pond called Burr Pond in Torrington, Connecticut. It was a natural, unspoiled pond. Okay. And I remember getting on the school bus with my bag lunch, my little shorts that made that little squeaky sound on the vinyl seat of the bus. Okay. And I remember getting off the bus with my little brown bag at Burr Pond. I remember the smell was very different because now I no longer smelled school and bus. I smelled, trees and dirt. And it was like, wow. And then I remember getting back on the bus with my bag lunch uneaten and being hungry and sitting back down on the bus and everybody looking at me and saying, where the heck were you all day? I went, what? What do you mean? When are we going to the pond? We're at the pond. Of course, kids are mean. They said some pretty nasty things. I had no idea what happened. I missed like 4 hours of time, maybe 4.5, 5 hours. And then I get home and I put the bag lunch on the counter when I walk in, and my mother says, hey, how come you didn't eat your lunch? And I said, I don't know, because I had no idea what had happened. So I went out to play. And when I went out to play in the empty lot next to my house, the next thing I remember is people screaming and yelling. I was having some type of terrible convulsions and seizures. And I remember whacking my head in the ground really hard. I remember looking and seeing ants and feeling my forehead hit the ground. Bam, bam. And I could feel to this day, I feel the impact of the sand on my forehead as I was hitting it and looking at these ants. And the whole time I was thinking, what's happening with these ants? This is weird. Almost like I was detached. It was the weirdest thing. And then I remember my friend was there. He ran to my mother, and I heard my mother screaming. And then I heard someone say, call an ambulance. I'm like, why? Who's in trouble? And I'm banging my head in the ground. And then I remember the ambulance coming. And by then I wasn't convulsing anymore. And they put me in the ambulance and drove me away. And I remember saying to them, hey, can you run the siren? It's like, yeah, so I got to hear a siren. It was really cool as a kid, And at the hospital, the doctors couldn't find anything at all that had caused it. They tested me for epileptic seizures, because that's what they thought. And there was no epileptic focus. They couldn't figure out anything. They put me through a special test to see if I had any kind of location in the brain where this might trigger an epileptic seizure. And they did that by trying to generate another epileptic seizure, and they couldn't. I was just thinking of it's kind of fun, all right, hey, this is cool. I'm getting lots of cool attention. And then the doctor said to me, so what happened? Did you fall and hit your head at all? And I was thinking now, this is now 4.5, maybe longer hours after getting to the hospital. I was thinking, hey, maybe I want to go home now and play. So I said, yeah, I fell and hit my head. Oh, okay, that explains it. Well, and he talked to my parents. I think he's just got a concussion. In reality, they had no idea. So they gave my parents their marching orders and discharged me. And my thought was, yeah, I'll get home and play now. And so I got home and, of course, went into my room and played. And the fact is, I didn't fall at Burr Pond because I didn't have any bumps that I recall. There was a small bump on my head, but that's where I was whacking the sand with my forehead. There was also some dirt ground into my forehead as well, if I recall that too. And so anyway, I ended up going to school the next day and just carried on like nothing had happened. Yet the next day, everybody had to write a report. Not a report, but they're kids, right? That wasn't a report. We had to talk about. Get up and tell about what we did at Burr Pond, what we saw, what animals we saw, and if we remember any of the presentations we were shown. And I had nothing. They asked me what I did, and I was like, I don't remember. And So the teachers actually said things like, were you there? You were there, weren't you, Marky? They call me Marky. I hated that. You were there, weren't you, Marky? And I was like, yeah. And then kids said, I saw him on the bus, but no one saw me at Burr Pond, at the pond. And the pond was a walk through the woods. So I don't understand what happened. So that's what I call the long day. I have no idea what happened there, but it's a sort of missing time. Now, I look at it from a medical point of view and say, oh, well, maybe I had an epileptic seizure, if that's what it was, and fell asleep for 4 hours. I don't know. Is that possible? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, it's pretty cool. But I have no answers. Now, and then moving on, besides missing time, people have implants. And speaking of implants, I can't stress more than to talk about the implants in terms of an experience that I had with implants, which I can't believe that happened, and I still sometimes don't. There's many thousands of stories and cases where objects were removed from people's sinuses and other places. Roger Leir was one of the most prolific doctors who did this research and removed them. I don't know that I trusted Roger Leir, but then someone I do trust is someone like Ket Torvaldsen. Okay, she's from Norway, and Ket and I did the New Sciences tour in Norway last August. We went around to all these different places, and we talked about where science fails. Similar stuff that I'm talking about tonight with all of you. Well, Ket is going to be hopefully our guest next week for an hour. She'll be joining us from Norway. So you're surprised, Daryl and Amanda. She's going to join us probably from 8:30 to 9:30 if we can arrange it. And she's going to talk about her experiences, but she's also going to talk about the implants that she has. Now, we know people who have an implant, maybe one that recurs, that comes back over and over. She's going to tell you about 26 of them that she has, and they're on x-rays. She has neodymium magnets that stick to her in a symmetric pattern all over her body. I haven't seen this personally, but I've seen the ones on her nose. Okay, and in the upper part of her chest when she's wearing like a blouse, you can actually see these magnets sticking to her. She's kind of she's a real strange person this way because she challenges our scientific beliefs. Now she's also writing a book on cosmology, which I'm helping her with, and we're also writing a book together, which is the next stage down the line, which will include some experiences, but it's also going to talk about the blending between astronomy as I see it and cosmology as she sees it. Very, very different. Something that would just be amazing to hear from her own lips. So that'll be next week. But in terms of the implants that I had one. And it was a terrifying ordeal in an old house. In fact, I moved out of the house because of this. I couldn't stay there anymore. And I had some type of creature approach me. I was awake and unable to move. I couldn't even move my eyes. And it approached me, and it shoved something up my nose. And the next thing I knew, it was morning. I was laying face down on the bed and could not breathe. I pushed off the bed and saw that I could not breathe because I was lying in a pool of my own blood. So I ended up getting up and doing what anyone who this happens to would do. I went to work and forgot all about it. See, and then when that was done, when I was finished with that work, I basically took a number of years before I came back to the thought process of maybe getting it checked, because that night it happened, I could no longer breathe out of my left sinus. It was completely plugged the very next morning. And I had no idea what had happened. But what can I say? It was something strange. And I have no idea what happened. And I'm going to tell you the rest of the story when we get back from our break. But there's more to it that made this even more, the word might be malevolent or curious, maybe. There was another curious factor that came about because of what happened to me, I think. And I don't think I'm anybody special. I think that I'm just sort of an average human who, for whatever reason, was unlucky enough to get tagged in some way. And now it's sort of following me around. I'll tell you about it a little bit later when I get back. But hey, this is Mark D'Antonio on SkyTour Radio. We have another break here at the bottom of the hour. And Daryl and I and Amanda will be back right after these words. Stick around.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com. Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied, but you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Hey, it's Mark again. Welcome back to SkyTour Radio. I'm here with Daryl Mason and here with Amanda Curran. And hopefully after that last segment, they're still with me. Are you guys still around? Or do you think I'm too nuts now to be hanging around you?
Well, not mutually exclusive to that.
That was funny. Did you hear Daryl? That was really funny.
I
did. Yeah. Well, if either of you had any questions for me before we move along here, feel free to ask. It was a strange experience I had, no doubt about it.
Ron wanted to know how your perceptions changed after your experiences.
Oh, well, I can tell you this.
Did you have any superpowers?
Yes, I could think about something and it would happen immediately. I just thought of the wrong thing, and you only get one wish, and darn it all, I wished I had a cannoli. Now,
hey, if it had been a genie, you could have 3 cannolis.
Good one. Yeah, no, I had no changes in perception really, but I had weird perceptions. I had weird things happening which I could not explain for a long time. And don't forget now, I'm an astronomer. These things don't happen to me, okay? I'm a science guy. All right? So what am I doing running around talking about, other alien beings and things like that? What I'm doing is I'm at the point where I know that the vast gulf between the stars is only an obstacle for us at our particular point in evolution. It's not going to be an obstacle for us in 500 years. The universe has time aplenty. Just because we're not there yet doesn't mean no one else can be. That's arrogance at its highest. So one of the perceptions that's changed with me, I can tell you right now, is that my mind is more open to other possibilities. My mind is open, as we talked about, with parallel universes. Last week, we talked about multiverses and the possibility. We talked about there not being enough mass to create the Big Bang, and that's very true. It's not all accounted for. Remember we know about dark energy, which is 73%, dark matter, which is 23%, and the final 4% is what we call baryonic matter, right? The matter, the electrons, protons, muons, gluons, and so ons, as I talked about, and those comprise the 4% left. However, of that 4%, we can't find 2 of it. 2% is missing. So you see, we're really in our infancy when it comes to our understanding of the universe. And even an alien species that has 10% more information about the universe than us is going to be able to go interstellar and be light years ahead of us, most likely. Because commensurate with the abilities to understand 10% more of the universe is going to come other skills and other technologies and other abilities and capabilities. And I think that's where we're heading. But we can't rush a revolution. It has to happen when it happens. Now, as far as looking at not just abductions or implants, now there's people that talk about having encounters with extraterrestrial beings. I think that extraterrestrial beings are a very possible possibility. Actually, I'm open to the possibility. Let's put it that way. And so I think that we should be considerate of the fact that the fact is there are reports that there might be other types of creatures in the universe. Among them, we're very familiar with the Greys, aren't we? We've heard about the Greys, and the Greys are a race of beings that are potentially gray-skinned with these dark almond-shaped eyes, right? Okay, you've heard of them, right, Amanda?
I have.
Okay, and Daryl, you've heard of them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, and he says, "Oh yeah," because they're actually prevalent in our culture. Now, they're sort of gray-skinned humanoids. Now, the humanoid part, having 2 legs, 2 arms, that doesn't bother me so much because, again, if they're carbon-based beings, then they're probably going to be bilaterally symmetric, because that means that they're going to be relating or relying on their version of DNA. Okay, most likely, because DNA, of course, is based on carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur. That's chomps. We call it chomps, with an N. Okay, and that reliance breeds a symmetry through the DNA on up. So that's something very important. And I think that when we talk about having a DNA based on carbon, it means we also are going to have alien beings that might be bipedal like we are, and might also be, for instance, creatures that have an outward form that relates to where their origin is. Okay, and I've thought about this before. Maybe the little grays that we're talking about now, maybe these are biological robots, because I think that's also very possible. So it is possible that we have, biological robots doing the bidding of creatures beyond their intelligence. So that's possible. Then we had there was at a time there was a spade-shaped head monster that was around called the Flatwoods Monster. It's all throughout literature. We had the little green men, small and green. Okay. Now what about the green? That's interesting. We talk about the little green men, and you think, oh, little green men from Mars, right? Yeah, because men and Mars start with an M, and so you get that little alliteration, which kind of makes you think they belong together. But guess what? Green is also an electrostatic charge color, and it's possible that the green was a real observed phenomenon, which is kind of funny to say, because now you say, you're saying little green men are real? Well, no, they're not green at all in real life, but they had this green hue around them because maybe it was a bioscreen, some type of filter, which we could use now with the Corona scare that's out there, And by the way, I thought about something, Corona beer. Okay, they actually had a huge hit in their sales because of the coronavirus. I think they should just change their labels and call it Corona Cure. And they'll sell off the shelf, man. So that's another little guy on the side. Along with the grays and the little green men, there's the Hopkinsville goblins. These are greenish silver humanoids. Again, there's that greenish part again, that were terrorizing people. And they would attack, and they didn't know what was going on. So see, that's another potential creature that could exist out there and may have come from more than just a myth, an urban legend. We don't know. And then there's the Nordics. Remember those? I don't know if you remember the Nordics. They're tall and blonde. And when Kent and I were going around Norway, when I got to this part, I would point at her and say, "There's one now," and we'd laugh, okay, because she also believes she's a hybrid. And if you look at her, she does have a look that you can't really place, and it's interesting. So she does have this really interesting look that that she'll tell you about, I hope, hopefully next week. And then, last but not least, we have the reptilians. Okay, these were the most disturbing, and these were the most ridiculous creatures I ever thought possible. It's like, come on, reptilians, and what kind of baloney is that? And of course, the insectoids and so forth. Well, I thought it was really ridiculous, and I'm still on the fence. But then I thought about something. You look at the path that life has taken on this planet. Carbon-based life, amino acids made by the Earth itself, some delivered by comets, asteroids, and meteors. And you look at the fact that life here evolved just the way it has, with us as we are just this particular way, because of major extinction events that had occurred on our planet. 250 million years ago, the Great Permian dying, probably caused by massive volcanic eruptions in what's now Siberia and what are called the Siberian traps. Toxic oceans led to the decline of plankton, which caused oxygen levels to plummet, which caused deaths of many creatures, many ecosystems. And it did recover eventually, but after 98% of the life on the planet was extinguished, okay, over time. Now, 66 million years ago, we had the Cretaceous Paleogene boundary event. What's that? It's when the dinosaurs died. The asteroid that struck off the Yucatan Peninsula. When that happened, that was an impact that had far-reaching consequences, because during the Permian event, reptiles were the least affected, but the small creatures that would become mammals were the most affected back in the Permian 250 million years ago. And they actually had to retreat and go into hiding, basically. And the things that came out and filled all those niches left behind were the reptiles. And this is where the age of the dinosaurs began. And it ended 65 million years ago with the asteroid strike. So you ask the question, what would have happened if there was no asteroid strike? What if the extinction events on the Earth had actually changed different things? What if we had no extinction events? What would our planet look like? Well, mammals were rising toward dominance because it seems that mammals rising to dominance is natural on Earth anyway. So in the Permian, the pre-mammals were the dominant species, the sets of species, and they were rising to dominance, and they were wiped out by these volcanic eruptions. What if that didn't happen? We'd have potentially 200 million years more. Well, the difference of 65 million years and 250. So just under 200 million years more time to actually develop than we had. So perhaps it's a possibility that we would actually have advanced to being well beyond interstellar had we gone down the path earlier. So you see, it's all because of how the extinction events tailored the evolution on our planet, that the species went in the particular direction we did. We're helpless and soft because of evolution. And that's because with our intellect, we don't need to have hard shells. We don't need to have sharpened sizers that we can rip meat from bones with. We don't need any of that. We just need our intelligence. We, as a species, chose the intellectual path. I say chose. It wasn't our choice, was it? It was sort of the evolution that was naturally selecting intellect over brawn. And certainly that's what's happened. So I think it's very interesting that this has happened this way. And I don't think that reptilians then, at this point, which is really odd to say, I don't think that it's impossible that a reptilian species could exist, because it almost happened here, didn't it? At the end of the dinosaurs era, at the end of the Cretaceous-Paleogene event, after the asteroid strike, there was a particular dinosaur called a Troodon that was actually developing a much higher cranial capacity. What does that mean in terms of intelligence? It means it was becoming more intelligent. It doesn't mean it was going to become intelligent. It means it was heading toward more intelligence. So maybe it was going to approach the intellect of a bird or beyond, maybe. But it was heading that way when it was cut short. I can't help but think, what might it have been? What might it have been? If we look at these extinction events on the planet, you got to wonder all the many things that have happened to lead us that way. And we turned out, like I said, just so because of this very process of evolution, okay? And because of the natural selection of what is going to win out, what has the best chance of success. And here we are, soft but intellectual. Anyway, we'll take a break from that for a moment. I think we have a caller. I think I'd like to take a caller. So let's just shift gears and grab a call, shall we? Here we go. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Are you still with us?
I am. Hi, Mark.
He is. Thanks. I'll see you later. Bye. No, I was kidding.
Hi, Amanda, and hi, Daryl.
Hello,
Hi, Ronald. How are you?
And very good conversation tonight. Thank you for the live show. And I am so glad that we don't have the 6-foot distance requirement,
Well, in your small town, everybody is a lot further than that, I think.
That's right. I wanted to give you a selfless plug of your book, The Populated Universe.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? I got the large format because I like the bigger pictures.
Nice.
But besides that, I'd encourage everyone to spend a little extra money on the large format. And it's not that much, actually. I think Amazon charges a couple extra bucks for the shipping, but that's about it. But I mean, it finally got here a little while back, and I've been looking at it, and amazing. And so now, if we had dinosaurs, which one would you like to ride?
Oh gosh, serious? Oh God, it's hands down. I know the answer already. Deinonychus, for crying out loud. Who wouldn't want a Deinonychus? I'd probably name him Randy or something like that, because it's just kind of a funny name for a Deinonychus.
Amanda, what dinosaur would you like to ride?
I don't think I know enough of them to. Is it probably a Triceratops? Yeah, maybe. Don't they have the shields around their neck and a horn?
Yes.
So
they
I'd
have
be
3
protected.
horns.
Do they?
Just
Okay. The tri.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Just like Montosaurus is the unicorn, Triceratops is the 3-horn.
Wow.
Probably him then.
Well, Daryl, then what's your answer?
Tyrannosaurus.
Of course it would.
Or maybe a pterodactyl. I could go flying.
There you go.
There
you go.
A young Denise Richards, the actress, she did a really dumb movie called Tammy and the Dinosaur, and her boyfriend somehow got turned into a Tyrannosaurus. So I choose Tyrannosaurus also.
Which means terrible
thank you.
lizard.
Yep. Thank you again for the show.
What's your answer, Ronald?
I want to hear yours now. Come on, you're not getting off that easy, buddy boy. I want to hear your answer. What dinosaur would you like to ride?
I'd probably be spending too much time on how to feed them.
We got him on the spot now. Look at that guy. He can't answer us now.
I think I like the one that Amanda had mentioned with the big shield thing. Kind of the.
Try. Forget his name already.
I don't know.
What's
I
his
don't
name?
know names either.
It's been so long since I've talked about dinosaurs. I mean, maybe when I was 6. Oh my God.
But do you think that it would be possible that we could even survive with that type of a creature and still be where we are today? Or
we have elephants in zoos, circuses, and game parks. So why wouldn't we be able to have a Triceratops? Why not a Brachiosaurus or a Brontosaurus? I mean. Now, having a Tyrannosaurus, though, that's just a little too much. And having...
well, as long as he behaved himself.
Yeah, but,
Ronald, Bill made a suggestion for you. An Alrightosaurus.
Okay. all right. Yeah.
I didn't see Bill's comment on that. Where is that?
In the YouTube chat.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Wow. Well, there you go, Ronald. So now you can have the Alrightosaurus.
I have my own dinosaur. That's right.
That's it.
I'll have a little Art Radio logo on the side of it. I'll be going.
Deinonychus is a sports car of dinosaurs. I mean, it's actually fairly low to the ground. It can move at high speed. It goes horizontal when it runs, and it's like being on the back of a bird,
Interesting.
I can see in a saddle for it, having a saddle. You got to strap in though, because if it stops dead, you're going off. I can imagine that would be pretty cool.
Well, thank you again for the show. Thank you, Amanda, for being here and being healthy. And you too, Daryl. All right. So
thank you.
Hopefully you guys will be back. Hopefully we'll be back next week.
Ronald.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Mark.
All right. Thanks, Ronald. I'll talk to you later.
See you, Ronald.
Okay. So that was actually a funny question. What dinosaur would you like to ride?
That took me a second.
Right?
I thought maybe I didn't hear him right. I'm like, did I zone out for a bit of that conversation, or did he really? Yeah. I see, when you name them, I recognize all the names and I can kind of figure out what they look like. But to actually start reciting them, I can't think of them. It's been so long since I thought about dinosaurs.
I was intimately familiar with the Deinonychus, and the reason is because I was actually building a 6-foot model of one, right down to the suspected skin tone and modeling. And for the life of me, I thought of it as, boy, this thing just needs feathers. I think this is like a future feathered creature, basically, if it wasn't at the time. And there's still, and this goes to evolution to show you how the fossil record is. We don't have a clear enough record to know whether certain dinosaurs had feathers or not. When did feathers evolve? There's discussion about when feathers actually evolved and why. And all of this, if you look at the modern bird trotting around on your front lawn looking for worms, well, there's your dinosaurs right there. Those are the ancient dinosaurs evolved. Natural selection took advantage of lower oxygen levels. I say took advantage, but you know what I mean. Natural selection ended up culling out creatures that had requirements that couldn't be supported by the environment. And the ones that were left behind were the ones that we have today. But evolution happens right in front of your eyes all the time. There's creatures on the planet that are evolving right before you. And we sometimes don't even see it. And a lot of people who say they don't believe in evolution, it's like, I was going to say, do not science? I say it that way, do not science. Because if you look at some of the scientific literature, there is plenty of evidence that evolution is happening all around you. There are creatures that are changing all throughout time, and we're witnessing it,
I talked about the Corral Bluffs thing here in Colorado, just east of town here recently, that it happened right after the Cretaceous, whatever you want to call it, boundary, Cretaceous, Tertiary, or whatever they call it now. And over the course of 700,000 years, I think it was, which is, an instant in geologic time, they saw the survivors of the impact event grow from little 1-pound critters up to the size of hogs.
That's right. That is right. And I remember that, Daryl. That was an excellent point, because, we watch how it happens. And sometimes evolution happens quickly. And remember what evolution is, folks. Evolution is mutation to the genetic line, followed by an adaptation to continue it. Okay. And when we say something's naturally selected, it doesn't mean that there's something up there going, okay, this one. It doesn't mean that. It means that this particular mutation, because genetics are being mutated all the time. Your genes are changing with every birth. The genetic imprint, the genetic, what's written in the genetics is actually changed. And this is possibly because of the ultraviolet light from the sun affecting our cells, possibly, or the earth itself. Whatever it is, it can affect everything. And so the genetic changes that we see in our being, for instance, those are called mutations. And if they serve the creature better, if it helps the creature survive, then it will naturally be a success and will naturally be able to continue easier than a creature that does not have that adaptation. So that's why we say it's mutation followed by adaptation. And that's what's meant by natural selection. We're letting the conditions of the creature, the capabilities and qualities of the creature that comes out, be the capabilities that guide its future existence or non-existence. And to me, it's a fairly straightforward thing, but how people can say they don't believe that evolution exists is beyond me. I don't know how they can possibly say that and still claim to know science, because science itself is filled with mutation followed by adaptation. Certainly there's no botanists among them that say that evolution doesn't exist. Certainly there isn't the anthropologist that says evolution isn't occurring. Archaeologists don't say that based on what they see. And so I just think that it's really crazy. I mean, a huge volcanic eruption can cause changes to a population. It can cause a population to die. That's not evolution. That's a traumatic event that affects a population. But when you have multiple creatures that let's say the volcanic eruption adds a lot of toxins into the air, well, then the creatures that near the eruption site that are that mutate in a way that they can absorb these toxins without any harm will naturally survive over a creature that does not. And that's a natural selection for continuance. See, that's how this works. And that's what happens all over the planet. It happens all the time. Everything is changing all the time. The universe never sits still, folks, you know, and neither do we at Sky Tour Radio. We continue moving, and we will continue to move, and we will be back with you next week too, you know. And I don't know, Daryl, do you have something you want to talk about next week? Do you have any ideas for what you want to do next week? I throw it up.
Not yet. I'll say, though, right now, I'll say this Wednesday, folks, Wednesday morning before sunrise, if you're up early and your weather's good, go out and look over in the southeast. The moon will be joining Jupiter and Saturn in a tight little triangle.
There you
go. Make for a very pretty picture.
Excellent. I told Daryl he could say that, and I actually only gave him less than 30 seconds to say it, so I apologize, Daryl.
Yeah.
And this Thursday, if you guys are listening to Coast Radio, I'll be on with George Norrie. So I think I start at midnight Pacific time, which is 3 a.m. my time. I'm going to be like, oh, hi. Yeah, what? And what was the question? Yeah, it's going to be kind of tough. But I'll do it. I'll enjoy it. I enjoy the opportunity to be on Coast to Coast. It'll be my first time. Never been on there before. Anyway, Amanda, would you like to say goodnight?
Good night.
Hey, that's pretty exact. Daryl, you want to say goodnight?
Good night.
Holy cow. I feel like I should say goodnight, John Boy.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Folks, we'll be back. We'll be back next week with another Sky Tour Radio. On behalf of Daryl and Amanda, all I can tell you is when you go outside at night, don't forget, keep looking up.
Except while you're driving.